I still remember the exact second my heart snapped. I'd been away for 3 weeks, just a short trip for a training course, and when I opened my bedroom door, I froze. The soft blue walls I'd painted myself were now blinding pink. My bookshelf was gone. My pictures, my memories, were boxed in the hallway like trash. And there, in the middle of my room, sat my younger sister, Avery Tate, scrolling on her phone as if she owned the place. She looked up, smiled, and said, "Oh, hey, Lauren. Mom said you're fine using the guest room now." Guest room. In my own house. Something in me went completely still. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. But that was the moment I promised myself, if she wanted to steal what was mine, she'd learn what it felt like to lose everything she cared about. What would you do if your sister walked into your room and acted like she owned it? Would you fight back, forgive, or plan your own revenge? Comment below and subscribe for more stories like this. Before everything went south, my sister Avery and I used to be close. Well, at least I thought we were. I'm Lauren Tate, 23, the quiet, responsible one in the family. I've always been the kind who cleaned up after everyone, helped with bills, and kept the peace when arguments broke out. Avery, on the other hand, was our parents' baby. Pretty, charming, and spoiled from the start. When I got accepted into a business training program in Chicago, I was over the moon. It wasn't forever, just a few weeks away, but it meant something to me. Progress, independence. Before I left, I told Mom to keep Avery out of my room. It was my one personal space in a crowded house. She'd always envied it, calling it the aesthetic room, like she deserved it more because her TikTok followers said her lighting sucked. 3 weeks later, I came home to find her living in it, clothes in my dresser, posters on the wall, and even my favorite quilt tossed aside. My mom just shrugged and said, "Well, you weren't using it." That moment hit harder than I expected. It wasn't about the walls or the bed. It was about how easily I'd been replaced in my own home. I watched Avery twirl in the mirror, smiling like she'd won something. And maybe she had, because at that moment, I felt small, unwanted, and furious. She'd taken my space, my comfort, and somehow, my dignity too. But she had no idea that I was about to take something far more important from her. For days, I wandered around my own house like a ghost. Every time I saw Avery lounging on my bed or flipping through my books, I felt this weird mixture of anger, disbelief, and sorrow. I tried talking to her at first. "Avery, this isn't fair." "That's my room," I said one evening, trying to sound calm. She just laughed, twirling a strand of her hair. "Relax, Lauren. It's just a room."
You're always gone anyway.
Mom said it's fine.
Mom. Dad.
Everyone seemed to side with her. Suddenly, I was the unreasonable one. I began to question myself. Was I overreacting? Was I too controlling? But deep down, I knew this wasn't normal. She wasn't just taking the room. She was taking advantage of everyone's indulgence and trampling on me while doing it. At night, I lay in the guest room, staring at the ceiling, thinking about all the small ways Avery had always one-upped me. The time she borrowed my car and didn't refill the gas. The time she accidentally broke my laptop and blamed it on clumsiness. And now this. My room.
My sanctuary. Gone.
Anger simmered inside me. It wasn't just petty jealousy anymore. It was a burning determination. I realized crying wouldn't solve this, and yelling wouldn't work. I had to be smarter. I had a plan. I began quietly observing her routines. Her job at the boutique, her favorite hangouts, even how she bragged about things she barely earned. Every detail became a clue, a weapon for what I knew had to come next. In those nights of sleepless plotting, something shifted. My hurt turned into a quiet rage, my sadness into clarity. I wasn't going to beg for what was mine. I was going to earn it back, in a way Avery would never see coming. By the time I walked past her room again, she was humming to herself, blissfully unaware that the sister she'd underestimated was about to rewrite the rules. I started small, like a moth testing the heat. If Avery wanted to act like she owned my life, I'd learn everything about the life she thought she deserved. Her job, Willow and Wren Boutique, became my map. I learned the manager's name, Mr. Nathan Briggs, the slowest weekday shifts, the inventory days, and which of her coworkers actually covered for her when she vanished for hours. I watched her social posts, the casual boasts about networking and opportunities that never seemed to materialize. I applied for a part-time position at the boutique under the pretense of needing extra cash, an innocent, convenient truth. I practiced smiling, folding clothes, and pretending to care about display aesthetics. But behind the friendly barcodes and garment racks, I was cataloging weaknesses. The coworkers who resented Avery, the manager who hated drama, and a pattern of small but costly mistakes Avery always covered up. Every little detail was a thread. I didn't rush. I wove them together. I left subtle, harmless hints, volunteering to help with inventory, offering to cover a shift, so I'd be in the right place at the right time. If she thought she'd stolen my room and gotten away with it, she hadn't counted on me learning how to take something that actually mattered to her. The day came faster than Avery expected. I was scheduled for a shift at Willow and Wren Boutique, and Avery strutted in late, coffee in hand, oblivious to the storm about to hit. I kept my composure, folding scarves and adjusting racks, watching her from across the store. By mid-morning, a customer complained about a missing designer jacket. Avery panicked, blaming inventory mistakes. But she had no idea I'd memorized the stockroom layout, the misplaced items, and even the exact jackets she had borrowed from the display. With calm precision, I located the jacket and handed it to the customer, smiling. Nathan Briggs, the manager, watched silently, his eyes narrowing as he pieced it together. Avery tried to explain, but I stepped forward, gently yet firmly, recounting several instances where her negligence had cost the store time and money. I spoke with evidence, clarity, and authority. Every coworker I had befriended nodded quietly, reinforcing my case. The moment Nathan made the decision was electric. Avery froze. Her smug confidence evaporated as he shook his head. Avery, I can't risk this anymore. You're let go. Lauren, you'll take over her shifts. Time seemed to stop. Avery's face twisted through shock, disbelief, and finally humiliation. I felt a strange mix of vindication and relief. I didn't gloat. I didn't scream. I simply watched as reality sank in for her. Walking past her as she gathered her things, she whispered, You planned this? I smiled faintly, my chest lighter than it had been in weeks. I didn't plan it to hurt you, I said softly. I planned it to get what I deserved. Maybe now you'll understand why taking what isn't yours can have consequences. For the first time in a long while, I felt powerfully, quietly triumphant, not through revenge alone, but because I'd taken control of my life again, and nothing could steal that from me. Sitting on my bed that evening, finally back in the room that had always been mine, I let myself breathe. The pink walls were gone, the pictures returned, my quilt neatly folded at the foot of the bed. Everything looked normal again, but I knew things had changed forever. Revenge wasn't as sweet as I imagined. The thrill of seeing Avery's shocked face had been satisfying, yes, but the real lesson came afterward. I realized revenge isn't about hurting someone else. It's about reclaiming your own power, setting boundaries, and refusing to be treated as invisible. I'd spent weeks stewing in anger, feeling small and powerless, and it had eaten at me. But acting decisively, strategically, and without malice gave me a clarity I hadn't expected. I also understood family doesn't always behave fairly. Sometimes the people you love most can disappoint or even betray you. But that doesn't mean you're weak. It means you have to protect yourself, stand your ground, and use your intelligence to navigate the challenges. Avery learned her lesson the hard way, but the real change was inside me. I discovered that I could face betrayal, harness my anger, and turn it into something positive. Not only had I regained what was mine, but I'd also grown stronger, more confident, and more assertive. Revenge taught me that sometimes victory isn't loud or dramatic. It's quiet, calculated, and deeply personal. And the best part? No one can take that kind of victory away from you once you earn it. A few weeks later, life felt different, lighter, calmer, and undeniably mine. I had taken over Avery's shifts at Willow and Wren Boutique, and the work that once seemed tedious now felt empowering. My coworkers respected me, Nathan trusted me, and for the first time, I wasn't just Avery's older sister or the responsible one at home. I was Lauren, in control of my life, my space, and my career. At home, the atmosphere shifted too. Mom and Dad no longer dismissed me. They saw the strength in standing my ground, in asserting myself without shouting or begging. Avery had retreated, humbled and quieter than I'd ever seen her. She learned, perhaps reluctantly, that life isn't about taking what you want, it's about earning respect and responsibility. Most importantly, my room felt like my sanctuary again. I decorated it with intention, surrounded myself with things that reminded me of independence, creativity, and personal victory. I no longer feared that someone could casually erase my space or my worth. I had earned it all back, and the sense of ownership went beyond walls or furniture. It was a feeling of empowerment. I realized that revenge had been a tool, not a goal. The real victory was regaining confidence, clarity, and peace of mind. I could smile at Avery now without bitterness, knowing that justice had been served naturally and that I'd reclaimed more than a room. I'd reclaimed myself. Life after betrayal isn't always perfect, but it can be powerful when you take control of what's yours, set boundaries, and refuse to settle for less than you deserve. And that's exactly what I did. Sometimes, I think revenge isn't about making someone else suffer. It's about proving to yourself that you're stronger than anyone's betrayal. Taking back what's yours, standing up for yourself, and refusing to be sidelined is empowering in a way that bitterness never could be. I want to hear from you. Have you ever been treated unfairly by someone close, and did you find a way to reclaim your power? Share your stories in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed hearing mine, don't forget to subscribe for more real-life revenge stories, where ordinary people find extraordinary ways to take control and rise above.